Hey everyone, and welcome back to PDA Dads UK. In this episode, I'm going to be speaking with John Lloyd, who is a TikTok celebrity with nearly 500,000 subscribers. And he is father to an amazing daughter called Deedee, who is disabled. And we talk on this about how TikTok has affected them both positively and negatively, and what it's like living day to day with a disability. So as I say, welcome back to PDA Dads UK. Before we go on, can you please go hit like, hit subscribe and ring the bell. Making those little changes, just adding the like, adding the subscribe makes a huge difference to how this channel gets out there to other people through YouTube's algorithms, and it makes a massive difference to me. It'd be a real favour. Please do go do that. As I say, I'm speaking this week with John Lloyd. So this was an interview I did with the Grumpy Gits, and you can find the link to the Grumpy Gits podcast in my description here. Basically, we interviewed him and we had a very condensed version included in that episode. In this, we have the full interview that we did with John and his daughter Deedee. So I will hand over to that interview with myself, Adam Pearson, and of course, John Lloyd and his daughter Deedee.
As the American scholar and academic Kesha once said, TikTok make it rock, going to blow your speakers up. 2 nights gonna fight until we see the sunlight. TikTok make it rock, oh the party don't stop. Oh, 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 oh. And speaking of TikTok segue, we are joined by TikToker and all-round awesome guy, John Lloyd. John, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good, thanks.
And as always, I am not alone. I am joined by the man, the myth, the legend, the thunder from down under, Duncan Casburn. How are you?
I'm very well. Feeling put to shame right now. John and I are roughly the same age.
21.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I've been 21 for 29 years now. It's great.
and lovely though I do, Duncan, you clearly made very different lifestyle choices.
Very different lifestyle choices. I want to know where you get the time from, John. Because I sit there, how am I supposed to fit in 3 episodes of Mandalorian and go and exercise? It doesn't work.
Boy, there's always time. There's always time.
You're going to have to teach me. I need this. After Chris's revelations last episode about his weight, and he's doing something about it, you're putting me to shame in a really awkward way.
So, John, for those who aren't aware of you and your amazing campaigning work online on platforms such as TikTok, first of all, how dare they? And secondly, would you like to be your own hype man for a second and introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm John, and I started. Are we talking about like the TikTok side now, or?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I started TikTok. Oh, it must have been about a year, just under a year ago now. But I was approached by one of my clients who I was PTing at the time, and she said to me, "You should get on TikTok." Now, I was quite popular on Facebook and Instagram at the time, anyway. And she said, "Get on TikTok. You can earn money from it." And I said to her, "How much you earn from it then?" And she said, "Nothing." So I laughed and flagged it off, sort of thing. I thought, no, well, a load of rubbish, sort of thing. But a few months after, I did actually went on the app, and it's like Pringles. Once you pop one Pringle, you got to have another one and another one. It's the same with the videos, isn't it? You go through the videos. Hey, this is funny. Well, another one, yeah. And I got hooked. On it, so I signed up, and it's carried on since.
I've seen a lot of really good stuff of you and Deedee. What made you decide to take it down that route? Because when you add, as someone who's been there firsthand, once you start incorporating disability into social media, you're setting yourself up for a lot of aggro.
Yeah. When I first started TikTok, it was pretty much just me. And I used to sit in the kitchen and do lives, talk to my friends and that on there. And Dee was curious what I was doing on there. Calm down. So she was curious who I was talking to. And I brought her into the live one time. And she got hooked. It became part of her social life. She liked it, even though we had so much hatred and things on there because of the fact of the problem she was facing all the time. But that drove us more, if you know what I mean. It drove us more and more and more. It was ban after ban after ban constantly. And I got to the point that TikTok itself just did not like disability people on there. because of the bans. And I think what proved the fact of the bans was my main account that I had on TikTok is called John Lloyd 175. And my backup accounts that I used to use with Deedee, I tried to keep hers separate from mine. So hers was called Deedee. I joined it and I used to sit here, do lives, chat to everyone during the day. I was in the kitchen while Dee was sitting in the front room. And Dee used to be curious then what I was doing. So this was a couple of months later after I'd been on the app. And I introduced Dee to it. I went in the front room and me and Dee was on it. And then it became part of Dee's social life. A lot of people liked her at the time. We got a lot of hatred. So it was a bit of mixed at the time. A lot of people didn't want us on there as well, which is another problem we have. We then started, obviously, the more I introduced Deedee, the more we started to get banned. I'm constantly getting banned after ban after ban. And it annoyed me more than anything. But I did think that TikTok itself had a disability problem against disabled people. TikTok, I think, did not want them on there. And what gave it away was my main account was John Lloyd 175, and I set Deedee account up, 2 accounts up in her. Well, she's had 3 or 4. And they were called Deedee something else and Deedee something else, always linked to Deedee. And they were constantly being permanently banned. Every time I had an account and it was associated with Deedee, the account would be took down. And it frustrated me so much. And they kept making excuses saying that she was underage and things. And I kept showing them passports to prove that she was 20 every time. And I got on the last time on the last account, I showed the passport on the live. So I knew that TikTok had seen the passport because they took the account straight away, took it down. But even so, after that day, they still use the same excuse of the age. So I do think that TikTok just does not want them on there. But after all that happened, and obviously I stayed on my main account, which I use now, and Dee's always on my account now, more and more people kept messaging me who had problems with TikTok, who are also in the same boat as me, disabled. And they kept messaging me saying it happens to them all the time. And a lot of the people that have a disability are too scared to go on TikTok because they know straight away as soon as they're on it, they're going to be banned, or someone else is going to report them and they've got like a short ban, if you know what I mean, and make a hatred and things that they were getting. And it drove me more and more and more to stay on the app just to keep everyone happy on there. But we have now sort of got to the stage where it has balanced itself off. We get a lot more positive now rather than negative, but it's been a real hard road that we've gone up to get where we got now, if you know what I mean.
I mean, that negativity, that constant barrage that was there initially, because, I mean, you know, having looked through some of the comments and the things that people are saying, and it's just shocking to me. It still shocks me to this day that this stuff exists. But how did that affect you guys? That must have had a real... I know...
It hurts. It hurt big time.
Yeah.
It affected Deedee as well, because she was hooked. It became part of her social life. Every morning she wanted to get up and she wanted to go on TikTok. And I'm trying to explain to her, look, you've been banned again. And I don't lie. I treat her the same as my other children. I've raised her exactly the same as anyone else, because she's a human being just like everyone else. And so she used to get stressed out on it. And I think she couldn't understand why. But yeah, it's hard. And also the comments that we were getting, she can read some of them as well. She's a lot more clever than what people think. And she could read a lot of I don't know if they work out the symbols and signs, even I mean the letters. And she used to be able to read it, and she'd be going like this on the live sometimes. And what's been said now? So I knew if there was a bad comment, she would do this, and I could understand that she was reading it.
I mean, that whole thing, it drives me nuts, because there's this... I think the problem, I don't know, it'd be really interesting to hear your feedback on this, but TikTok seems to be a very, very young audience that doesn't yet seem to have social graces, perhaps, or the fact that they're anonymous to a massive degree on TikTok, that they're not on other platforms. They feel they can get away with saying anything, and there's a bullying culture that's really strong in TikTok, in my opinion.
TikTok is the worst app I've ever been on for hatred. I've been popular on Facebook and Instagram. I've had my daughter, I shut the accounts down and started new ones up now, but she was always on my Facebook and Instagram, never had a problem with anyone. TikTok, totally opposite. So much hatred every day, hatred. People fighting, telling me to get off it. Even people claiming to be like social workers, healthcare professionals, are trying to tell me they work with disabled children and she shouldn't be on there. I'm arguing back with them, saying, Why shouldn't she? What's difference? What's difference is she to anyone else? Who gives you the right to say someone with a problem shouldn't be on TikTok? To me, everyone has a problem. We've all got disability one way or another. But people just, I think people are old-fashioned. Society nowadays, and they've been trying to bring disabled people into society and accept them as one. I still think it's still back in the dark ages. A lot of people think they shouldn't be seen or heard, if you know what I mean, and they definitely haven't got a right to be on TikTok. That's how people see it. And because we've kept and we fighted and kept the count going and stayed on it, I suppose it's shown a lot more people, because we get a lot more love on there now. I think people have actually realised, hey, she's got a problem, a severe problem, but now they're starting to accept her and realise she's cleverer than what they actually think she was, if you know what I mean. So they're sort of accepting her now in the society, whereas before they didn't want to know her.
I think what Duncan says to about anonymity is a real thing. Like, back in the day, if you wanted to be mean to someone, if I wanted to be a dick in the playground, I'd have to go find the person, grow some balls and say it to them, and then watch their soul die right before me. And you feel this good old-fashioned emotion we call remorse. Whereas now you can write anything to anyone and send it, and it feels really victimless. And rather than feeling guilty, you're like, by the power of Grayskull. And you keep going. I was on TikTok for maybe a week, and video 1 got a lot of aggro. And so I thought, because I'm this kind of guy, I thought I'd poke the bear and do the Adam Pearson troll challenge to see if you give people permission to be mildly ableist on Twitter, will they? And spoiler alert, yeah, they absolutely will. And I was like, yeah, point made.
Well, the thing of obviously disabled people get it worse on TikTok, but everyone gets picked on one way or another. Even I do. You know, I mean, I've got muscles, so people look at me like a freak. You know, I mean, I get picked on. You could be the most beautiful, perfect woman or man in the world, and someone will still pick on you. It's just a site. I think TikTok is just a site for bullying.
Yeah, I really feel that. I think there's this element there that you see on Instagram. They're trying to do something about it, but there's this culture that's coming in that you have. And it's ironic because we've all been fighting so long for this to be different. And, you know, you hear about body positivity and all this kind of stuff. But ultimately, I mean, you know, Facebook know that, or Meta, as they're now called, know that these things are damaging to young people in particular, because there's this constant thrust to be perfect and appear perfect. And, you know, I was speaking to a friend yesterday and they want to do some stuff on YouTube. And it's like, I'm just going to find a way I can get a filter on YouTube, because they're that, you know, that they feel it and they're presenting themselves to the world. You know, I mean, I've got no hope. I look like a face like full of arseholes, you know. So I don't mind so much. I'm you know, I've long come to accept my physical appearances.
Onlyfans.com/binlinerfull-of-yogurt. That's where you can find John.
I'm not saying nothing to you. I think I'll keep out of this bit, but yeah.
Oh, that's as much a confirmation of what I've been saying as anything. But I do feel that there's this push that you've got to appear perfect, and you can't be on TikTok if you've got any flaws, and if you have them, you've got to hide them somehow. TikTok seems to be really at the forefront of this. It gets to me, and you get things like your daughter. And my daughter wants to do this kind of stuff as well, and I'm really reticent because I know she won't be able to handle the negativity that comes along with it, and it makes me sad because she'd love it, but there's no way she'd cope with that level of bullying.
I've had many convos with many parents about TikTok, and I've told them don't allow your child on there. I mean, they're 16-year-old, don't allow them on there. So they get nothing but bullied.
When did that tide turn for you? When did the popularity start to?
It's only been pretty much recently. I think what blew it, I put a video up of, we were doing a trend at the time, and my daughter, she had a seizure. She has seizures constantly throughout the day, and we obviously caught the seizure when we was doing a trend sort of thing. And I thought I'd post it. I started to show more and more of our life, how we live and deal with the problems that we have. And the same as we went shopping. We was in Milton Keynes. She cried. She burst into tears in McDonald's, and that's because people were staring at her. She senses them and knows that people staring, so she cried. I posted it. I showed it on my TikTok, so people knew how we deal with public. That's what it's like in the real world. We're like that constantly, and it shocked them. And obviously, when I've done that video, we've done that trend. I thought I'd put that on there so they can see it. She has them on live anyway, you know what I mean? But the audience we have on live are not always bad. Sometimes they're pretty good, so they know what Dee's like. But when it's the post on your wall, pretty much everyone is seeing it. And that sort of totally blew my TikTok to pieces. It sort of went global. That video went global. People started sharing it and criticising it, saying, we were faking it and we shouldn't have been doing this. This shouldn't have gone on there. It just absolutely went crazy. It changed it. It totally changed it.
Do you think when you almost hold a mirror up to society and almost force them to confront their attitudes towards disability, be they implicit or not, do you think it makes them feel uncomfortable? And if it does, good, because it should. And then is that how we can almost redeem TikTok and make it a source for good in a platform that's almost designed for destruction?
Social media, sort of that comment that you were saying earlier, that social media, everyone sort of gets the impression that everyone's got to be perfect, ain't they? They have different lifestyle. In their real lifestyle, they're totally different. But on social media, they're wearing like designer wear. You know what I mean? They have to look 100% all the time. But real life, they're probably living in slumps and things. If you know what I mean. But the impression that they have to give on social media is this fake life that they always live in. Whereas we're doing it the other way. We don't care. You'll see us as we are. Everything is as it is. And I think that's what people liked about us as well on TikTok. Everything is just us.
You're very genuine. It's actually something looking through some of your posts, and one that really got me, and because of the way TikTok is, I kind of went in backwards order. So I saw the one you did with Deedee in the Focus racing rally car, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Which was just, awesome on so many levels, and seeing her interaction. But then I got the one before it where you were saying we were supposed to be doing this today, but it can't happen.
Guys, I've got some sad news. To go and reveal the rally car from WDE Motorsport. But Dee at that point decided to go in and out of seizure. So I've had to contact WDE Motorsport and tell them that me and Deedee, we're sorry, but we've had to come back.
And you were just talking to camera, just being really raw about this is our life. This is what sometimes happens. We have seizures, and if she's not 100%, I'm not going to force her to do what she can't and doesn't want to do. So we're going to rearrange it, and it will happen. And I thought I loved seeing that aspect, that you were just being really genuine about this is what your life is. And I think that resonates at some level with others.
That's life. Life is never full of roses, is it? It never goes to plan, does it? That is it. But I think that was when I was on Instagram. Everyone used to say the same on there. I'm so genuine. And obviously when I used to put my posts up, it's mostly about my fitness, and I put my posts up. I don't edit it, and I don't try and get the best angle shots to make me look big. Everything is on there. And a lot of people used to message me and say, you look fabulous. You always look fabulous. But it's just a natural picture. I'm not posing or like trying to get the best angles and that. And people like it. People like it because people don't do that.
You're just you.
Just me. Yeah, I don't care, you know what I mean? It doesn't bother me. If someone don't like my picture, scroll past, you know what I mean? I'm not on there to impress. I'm just on there to just motivate the people that want to be motivated. They look at me and think, well, he's just a nice, genuine guy. We're following him, and that's pretty much what they do.
And I really like that. I think social media, and we've sort of touched on this in our back and forth between the three of us, but we can often end up comparing our behind-the-scenes living to other people's greatest hits living. Yeah. And we can almost assume that level of posturing is how life should be. When everyone, no matter how good they look on Insta or TikTok or whatever, everyone looks like a dog in the morning, don't they? No one rolls out of bed.
Yeah. Not me. No, not me.
Speak for yourself. Yeah.
You're all right. You don't get messy hair, do you?
Exactly. I always look perfect as I am. My beard may be everywhere, but my hair is always perfect. I just think we have this problem where we are, whilst at the same time everyone's going on about, they went through this whole thing on Facebook, didn't they, way back when, and Instagram, which was about, no filter Friday or whatever they had, and it was like just being you and genuine. But really it was sort of a band-aid solution to a bigger problem, which is that we've tried to attack it with magazines that are all saying, oh, you've got to look a certain way, and then suddenly there's, you see, I can't remember who did the ads, but they were women of all shapes and sizes sort of showing off their bodies as part of the ad, and I can't remember who did it, but they started making this progress, but there's this insipid nature to a lot of social media that it's indirect, and you've got to look and be a certain way or you're not going to be accepted. And I think that impacts on the disability community even more, because how can you overcome that? And I love seeing guys on, we had Aaron Phipps on not so long ago, and he was quite happy showing off his legs. I've got a lady who lives local to me who's got who lost a leg due to cancer, and she just wears her prosthetic with pride. And there needs to be more of that, I think. And I think what you're doing by showing Deedee and yourself in that natural everyday life, this is what really, really happens, is doing a lot of positive.
The main thing that I try to do is try to change people's aspects to life. And I think automatically people look at, obviously, anyone with disability, and that's it. They don't want to see it. It shouldn't be seen, if you know what I mean, locked away. But by allowing Dee on there and showing the interaction that we have, that people realise now, hey, like, this is a disabled girl, but she's the most loving person they've ever met. You know what I mean? On TikTok, we've gone so big, and they're shocked, if you know what I mean. Wow, she can dance, she can stand up, she can still say a few words, and it's shocked them. I think that is the problem. Automatically, someone says a disability, they don't want to know you. They cut you off. You shouldn't be doing anything. You know what I mean? They don't look into it, do they?
And I'll say as a dad, that relationship with you and Deedee, it really comes across on your TikToks as well. You've got there's a respectful love there.
Can't get away. I can't get. It's like being married. She is pretty much my rock. We've gone through hell and back, you know what I mean, with her mum and that. She's my rock. She's kept me going. And I've done pretty much the same for her. If it wasn't for me, she wouldn't be here. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here. You know what I mean? So we've got a real strong bond. And I think it's the past that we had with the ex is why we are so strong now.
It comes across. It really does. It shows. And you can't fake it.
But people, a lot of people don't like it. They don't think it's normal. It's not right. They don't see that a dad and a daughter should have a good close bond. People are totally against it as well. It's another hatred thing they don't like. When they comment, I always say to them, don't you have no loving from your parents when you were younger or something? Do you know what I mean?
As a father, I hope for that with my daughter as time goes on, that we retain that kind of closeness, and it really comes. I really respect it, and I think, fuck everybody else. If they're complaining about it, yeah, like you say, who hurt you, really?
Yeah. Take your daddy issues elsewhere. Take it to Joe Rogan, you hipster broster.
But it's true, isn't it? I think society as well. I remember a few years back, I think David Beckham, there was quite a few famous celebrities in the limelight at the time, and the society, the social care side of things, was trying to say that you shouldn't be kissing your kids anymore, if you know what I mean. They were trying to take that bond. You shouldn't be cuddling your daughters on your laps and things. They were trying to separate that bond from people, weren't they? Whereas we don't care. You know what I mean? If she wants to sit on my lap, she'll sit on my lap. No, if she wants to kiss me, she'll grab my face and kiss me.
I don't know why people want to take that kind of level of relationship away from people. And of course there are boundaries, but that isn't what's happening. Right, and the fact that people can't seem to separate them is like a really sad indictment.
Yeah.
And again, I think it comes back to maybe some people didn't have that level of closeness growing up from their parents and what have you. And I don't know how we cut through this toxic culture. And I see it a lot in sort of like guys my age. It's sort of like bro culture, where everyone's trying to either one-up each other in the bants and what have you. I saw an issue of Men's Fitness. It was like, 700 rules to be the perfect man. And I'm like, point one, that's more rules than the Old Testament. That's a problem. And number two, what the hell is perfect? And but I also reckon we could merge a lot of them together and maybe make it 10 rules to be the perfect man. But also, I think it's a warped view of what it what it means. I think a lot of the time we look at how women behave and think, well, that's the opposite to a man. I should do the opposite of that. When she gets upset, she cries. So when I get upset, I should punch a tree, or words to that effect. And again, a lot of this comes from sort of like social media. A lot of guys are into things like wrestling, boxing, MMA. Look at that and think, yes, that's what I should be. When really they're fine just the way they are. How do we cut through this? How do we separate the truth from the noise in such a social media heavy world?
I want to chime in on that and say, I think what John's doing is actually doing, because you are, people who look at your Instagram and your TikToks and go, oh, you know, he's buff as hell, he's ripped, he's everything a man should be. But yet you're showing that other side as well. You are actually breaking that.
Well, yeah, just right. A lot of people look at me and think, wow, he's a big geezer sort of thing. So he's a hard, tough nut sort of bloke. Whereas really, in life, when they're watching my life and that, I'm totally the opposite. I'm like a gentle giant, if you know what I mean. It's like, I show love and things, if you know what I mean. People shocked us. It shocks people. I suppose first people's impressions, right, look at me and think gangster or something, or a thug, you know what I mean. That's it. That's just the same with disability, isn't it? Exactly the same. You've got a disability, off you go. You look rough, you're big, you don't look right, you're a thug, off you go.
And that's it. I love that sort of taking the stereotype and putting it on its head, if you like. What's been, I mean, going back to what we've seen that change. So you started posting all this stuff that was actually really showing what life is really like with Deedee and yourself and how the struggles are there. Once you hit that change, you started putting that stuff up and people started reacting more positively. I mean, what's been the best moment you've had on TikTok as a result of that sea change?
I suppose my best thing that's come out of it is the fact now Dee has a social life, and that's the most loving thing that I think that I could say has happened definitely with TikTok. When you look at her, the way she grew up with her friends, even at school and that, they all drift away. And I've always had in my head she's going to be like a girl that's not going to have no friends. And that's pretty much how life has turned out. She's on her own, but now she's got this social media platform and she's interacting, and we have so many people fighting to come in our lives, and they do silly things. The men will dress up like women and that just to make her happy, if you know what I mean. That is the most, definitely got the best thing. We've had a few famous people on there, women that was singing on The Voice come on there. We've had a famous rapper, he's been on our live. There's no end of people that just fight. You can see them in the comments. Like someone will say, "Do you want me to come on, John?" And everyone else is going, "It's my turn next." You know, they're arguing in the comments. They just want to come on there.
I've heard there's been people who've been deliberately coming on so that they can sing to Deedee.
Yeah, that's it. Even if they can't sing, they just want to come on my life and just make Deedee smile. You do get the odd one that tries to get the followers, if you know what I mean. But mostly it is they just want to come on and just want to interact with Deedee. They just absolutely love her. She's like me. She talk as it is. You know what I mean? She's angry if someone comes on the life and she don't like you. You'll be getting this, if you know what I mean. She'll be getting this at you. So she won't sit there and pretend like she likes you. If she don't like you for any reason, whatever it is.
No.
Hey, yeah. There we go, Duncan. No life for you.
No, never. No. Face for radio.
You'll have to jump on, see if Dee likes you.
So, John, what's next? What is the TikTok dream, if you will?
Well, obviously to keep going, because obviously the more negativity than that we've had, it drives us more and more and more. And I suppose we have to keep it going, and I want to keep it going because people out there that have got disability are looking at us, even though they're not coming on their life or posting anything. They're watching us, and it brightens their day up more than anything. When we've had bands, they message me and they're really upset, if you know what I mean. They're heartbroken. So I've got to keep it going. I have to keep it going. Whatever happens, it's always going to be going now. It'll never end. We've got the rally driving. That rally driving was the same. That happened because of, I think the bloke at the time, he read some of my comments and he'd never seen so much hatred before in his life. He said, this is out of order. He said, the more I see this hatred, the more I want to do things for her. So that's when he said, look, we rally cars. We want to sponsor Deedee, put it all over the car and that, make a big event of it. So it's driving a lot more other people as well, rather than just us. Other people are driving, you know what I mean? want to do things for her. We've got T-shirts. There's T-shirts. There's one that makes T-shirts with Deedee's logos and that on it. It's really nice.
Make sure we'll put the links to purchase those in the description. So if anyone's watching,
we've had bad as well. We've had a lot. When I first come on TikTok, we set up. I didn't set up, but some man set up a GoFund page for me and Deedee to get us abroad. Deede's never been abroad, been too scared, and I never thought she'd ever go abroad. And I've talked about, I don't know how we ended up talking about it one time on the live. I said, I'd love to take her abroad because her life expectancy is always going to be low. You know what I mean? Never know, like she's going to be here tomorrow or the next day. You never know when it's going to be. Anyway, so this bloke approached me. He said, I've set up a GoFund for you. I thought, what a lovely thing to do. You know what I mean? He said, it's all set up. So I started sharing it. I didn't think about anything about passwords or access to the account. You know, I thought, what a lovely, genuine bloke. So a few weeks ago, this is just a few weeks ago, it's happened now. Someone messaged me and said, have you got this certain person on your Facebook? And I said, oh, I don't know, I'll have a look. He's not a very nice person. I won't name him because obviously you're not allowed to.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I said, yeah, he's on there. So I blocked him. And then she goes, he's not the one that's doing your GoFundMe, is he? I said, no, you know when your heart just sinks? Mine done that. And I looked at it and I said, yeah, it is. So I messaged him nicely because I was worried about the money. There was just under £2,000 that people had donated to us to get us abroad. And I messaged him and it was scammed. He scammed, took the money, gone.
Oh.
I was gutted, but I'm more gutted the fact of the followers donated that money, if you know what I mean. Yeah. That's what's annoying. It's the same as TikTok. When TikTok used to ban us all the time, it's not the fact that we lose the money, it's the fact the people, the followers that have donated all that money to us is then just gone to TikTok. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be so bad if it went to a charity. If TikTok messaged you and said, look, we know you've made like 200 quid on this live and we're going to donate it all to charity. They don't tell you that, they just keep it, don't they? They get free money. So I did at one point think TikTok just doing this just to get money. You never get no answers from TikTok, do you? That's the trouble.
There's a real accountability issue with the platforms themselves. And I've heard stories from other disabled people who use social media, or parents of disabled people, about Instagram taking down their photos of their children because they were deemed like offensive or disturbing and what have you. And you never really get to talk to a human. It's all kind of algorithms and cut and paste responses.
Yeah.
And until we can cut through that and create a culture of accountability, which will then create a culture of acceptance, then there's always invariably going to be issues. And no matter how small a percentage they are, I think any percent of institutional ableism on social media is too much institutional ableism on social media. But as we've learned in this conversation, it's a double-edged sword, and I think the goods more than outweigh the bads. And I think as advocates for the community, it's our job to use the platforms responsibly and be that change that we want to see. And I'm always, as an advocate, I'm always in this like constant fear of I know the world is watching. And so I can't go on like a Jimmy Carr-esque bender on social media. And I can't have beef with a rapper again, Duncan. I can't. It happened once and it nearly killed me.
Yeah.
I've got so much respect and for what you're doing. I love the way it's been very organic for you and a natural thing. I found the same thing for myself as I started advocating for my daughter in different ways, and then suddenly you sort of wake up one day and you realise I'm really a part of this community, and it's a wonderful thing. How do you deal with? Speaking as a parent myself, so my daughter is autistic with PDA and sensory processing disorder. Not as visibly affected as Deedee obviously is, but a lot of things there. But that ongoing side for me is a big thing I'm trying to put out there at the moment, is the importance of self-care, ironically, for people like parents and stuff like that who feel guilty when they're taking that time for themselves. I mean, you're obviously really into fitness and that side of things, but how do you make sure you're focusing on your own well-being as well?
Yeah, I don't think you do you? Being a parent, your life is pretty much 100% donated to your child, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Yep.
My fitness side, and people always say to me, how do you manage to do it? Sometimes I can train during the day, if you know what I mean? It's not a problem. It depends on my daughter, but obviously when she's poorly, I can't. So sometimes I'm training like 3 o'clock in the morning, but I always find, so like I said, it's no excuses. I always find the time. And I knew, obviously, things will get harder when Dee left school, because obviously I haven't got the carers anymore to obviously watch Dee, so I could go and do my training. So it was that point I knew when she finished school, I'd better start thinking about ahead, and that's what I did. I started to build my own gym, so I've got my own gym now upstairs, so I can always got my fitness here. There's always time in there, but there ain't always time. I always make time. My life, I can't do what I want to do anymore. If I wanted to go night, I couldn't do that, you know what I mean? Not that I want to, you know what I mean? I have to do everything for her. My life is revolved around her. And I'll get the odd break where I can't do my training. That's it. Kids are the boss, aren't they?
They really are. Don't let my daughter know that. I'll never hear the end of it.
You're the boss! I will find a way. I'll find a way, Duncan.
I'm sending it to you, Adam. If we start getting crap from this, she's coming to your place to stay.
No.
Dee makes it clear when we're on live. She makes it clear to everyone that she's the boss. You can hear me. She's the boss.
There we go.
Perfectly timed.
We could not have timed that. I love to say that we planned that, but we didn't. Anyway, John, if people want to learn more about you or find you on the socials, where can they go?
Well, my TikTok is John Lloyd 175. My Instagram is pretty much just for fitness, the fitness side of things, and that is train _ all _ day _ long.
We'll put the links in the description so that you can find them.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Amazing. Well, John, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for your time, and keep us posted on the adventures that you and Deedee are having.
I'm sure you'll see us, don't we? We keep popping up. Everyone keeps saying that. You're popping up everywhere now. Yeah, they can't get away from us. As soon as they log into something, we're on there. You're still going to be haunted by us now. That's it.
Oh, yeah.
There we go, Duncan. We've created a monster. It's happened.
It's been an absolute pleasure being on here. So thank you, guys.
We enjoy having you, man.
Well.
Big thanks to Deedee as well. I hope she's okay after earlier being a bit stressed.
I'm in the doghouse now, you know.
Blame us. Everyone else does.